I'm gonna lie, this story is really crazy. It's really on some OJ type stuff. I think Davey is like the modern OJ Simpson because for the most part, all of the motives are there, all of the evidence is there. I just very much believe that you could have definitely off this girl. So David has come under fire in recent months because his ex, well, seemingly, well, at least basically his girlfriend, his underage girlfriend, was found dead in the back of a Tesla that he owned. Now, mind you, I'm not gonna say just because, but the body being found in the trunk of his car does not necessarily mean that he was the one who did the the unaliving, right? But obviously, you would think, all right, well, if it's his car, he would have something to do with it. Now, the fact that David did not get locked up immediately, right? The fact that he's not in jail waiting for a trial right now, because this is some serious shit, bro. Like, you being accused, and not only that, he was never actually accused by the actual police for offing the girl, which kind of says that there's more to the story than that. There's more to the story than the media is letting you believe, because you got to realize, damn, since when in the history of America has law enforcement ever resisted, ever avoided taking a black man to jail? You know what I'm saying? That's never happened. Which made me think like, damn, all right, well, all the signs are there. It makes sense that he would do it. You can see him doing these things, and also he has the vibe of a kind of guy who will flip out. And for the most part, yo, if I feel, listen, of course it's all alleged. There has not been a court case yet or a court ruling yet. But I'm just saying, bro, everything is there. But if the cops have not come for this nigga, chances are he must be mad guilty. I mean, I'm sorry, he must not be guilty. All right, listen, let me tell you something. Bill Cosby went to jail for smashing Johns from the 70s and 80s who willingly came to his house knowing that you were there to have sex, and then went and got on the stand and became witnesses, and then they actually rescinded consent. I think in some cases they said, no, I mean, I was okay with it, but but now I'm not, or just basically something where they rescinded consent. You got to realize when these things happen, women understand negotiation. Women are in business. They're not in love, nigga. You in love? They're in business. Shout out to CGA. And when I say that, they're always conscious of what's going to help in negotiation and what can I do to set a new precedent. So when a new precedent is set, and that's another thing too, women continue to keep setting a new precedent to where women have more and more power in terms of your reputation. Because for the most part, that's been the main thing, or the main power that women have had and wielded throughout time immemorial, especially over the last 60 years, is the ability to ruin your reputation with a lie. And when it happens to a man, his life is never the same. Men make their money off their reputations, right? That's your livelihood. But anywho, but that's been the main thing that will happen. And in all these cases that I'm going to bring up, aside from Drake, Drake is probably the only artist of his caliber that has not been brought down, attacked, or had been in at least one. I'm sorry, he has been in some shit with women, but not now. Right? I'm just saying, if you really think about it, right, like Drake hasn't really been in a scandal or no ongoing story or no story that has like proof or concrete evidence or been locked up. Drake's never even been locked up for nothing. That's how clean he kept his nose. But with Drake, David, and Tory Lanez and also Michael Jackson and Prince all have in common is that they're black men who were able to find a way to make a lot of money in music. It is actually a rarity for any artist to make a lot of money doing music. Most people, if they're lucky, they can leverage their celebrity and make money. Like say, like Rihanna, that's a really good example. I heard that on the Brand Man Network. They were talking about how, yeah, Rihanna may have done music and sold records, but It was her celebrity that gave her the opportunity to be a part of Fenty, and they had no idea that company would be so successful to the point where her shares make her a billionaire. You know she don't own that shit, but her shares in the shit make her a billionaire, and that's based off of the celebrity that she built up, throughout the years. So that's the way you can really get to the bag. Drake is one of very few people who actually makes a lot of money from music, including this guy David. So David, if you don't know, um, became famous. He was a streamer who streamed doing, playing Fortnite online. And he would want to play music in his videos, but he kept getting copyright claims. So his mother suggested, well, why don't you just start making your own music and everything, and you won't get a copyright claim. So from there, he built his own audience, and he started playing his music during the game. Now, I've always thought that this could work, but as an artist, you always think about oversaturating yourself or it not basically looking corny to play your own shit. But that's wrong, because what you have to do is, for one, make something that's so good that it doesn't matter if it's you playing it. That's my goal, is to know. I want to make records that are so good that it doesn't matter where it came from. It doesn't even matter who made it. That's the sign of a good song to me, is that when the person, of course you want to know who made it, but when it doesn't matter where it's coming from, you just know I'm hearing a good song right now. All right. So that's what he did. When this story came along, I read on Twitter, I read a tweet that really resonated with me, really touched my soul, and that tweet read, "Y'all are not gonna gaslight me into thinking that this guy David existed more than 2 weeks ago." And I realized the person who wrote that tweet is probably an old ninja like me. What? Damn, I ain't hit my sound effects the whole show. Probably was an old head like me. Because David is a younger guy. So I had to realize, oh shit, you know what? I probably wouldn't know who this is because, he's 22 years old. This is the young generation, this and that, right? And this is a young guy, right? So, anywho, this case in particular, I'm saying, like I said before, is about, this boy, this boy's ex-girlfriend. Now, even the story of this relationship, which was, for the most part, like really illegal, no matter how you chop it. Like this. Now, mind you, it was never formally confirmed that they were sleeping together, but this girl appeared on a lot of his streams, this and that. And like I said before, David built up his own audience and built up his own infrastructure by playing his music online to an audience that he already had, and he's really parlayed that to a whole like career. Like, he actually had sold out shows and a lot of records that I never heard this nigga before. Right? So I bring up that part so we can understand why this guy would be a target. Because again, we know it's a long pattern of when black men find ways to make money in the music industry without having to pay a lot of white folks. You gotta realize that when artists put out an album, a lot of people get paid. So if you can find a way to put music out without a bunch of people getting paid or a bunch of people having to be cut in, bro, like you're beating the game. A lot of money goes into marketing. A lot of money goes into the right relationships. You gotta know that person and that person. Like back in the day, you used to have that paper bag full of money and bring it to Funk Flex and say, "Yo, play this." I remember, I never forget being a young boy, and this guy I knew, his name was Q. Like, he was so New York, and he was such a fucking savage, bro. I did not understand this nigga at all, bro. He was like mad aggressive, and I didn't understand where his money came from. But he had like a DVD, and he would stand outside, and he would sell this DVD hand to hand to people in Times Square and all over Manhattan and whatnot. I remember one time, I never forget this shit. I remember one time he like forced these Asian kids to buy his DVD. But that's how he would make money. So he actually boxed and everything. But that's how he used to make money and shit, right? So, I forgot the point I was making. Oh, lost my train of thought. It'll come back to me. Anywho, so damn, I had a good point while I was bringing up Q. It'll come back to me. My bad, y'all. Anywho, so oh well. So like I was saying, long history of artists always being punished for finding their own way and finding their way to a bag. But in this guy's situation, this shit is crazy. Matter of fact, so we're gonna go ahead and play a few clips that I found, and yeah, let's check it out. Is it a video? So these are lyrics from a recent song. So it says David's hit song "Romantic Homicide" was released on September 7th, which was also the birthday of the 15-year-old girl who was found dead in his car. Now, mind you, rumor has it that he's had a relationship with this girl since she was 11 years old. Okay. It says, in the back of my mind, I killed you, and I didn't even regret it. I can't believe I said it, but it's true. I I don't know what this says. I hurt you, whatever. Anyway, so let's play this next clip right here. That's not it.
David broke out crying during his Afterlife performance in Houston.
Fair use. Fair use. So, throughout this case, right, when people cover this whole case, they cover how he like kind of snitches on himself and tells on himself through the music, and he talks about murdering this girl, and it's weird. But he has songs where he talks about like killing this girl, or there's songs that seem as though they're about this girl, Celeste. That's the girl that you see in the picture. And not only that, like I said before, I ain't gonna lie, super disturbing. It's super disturbing, but the bigger question was, why was the family allowing it to happen? Because one other part of the story was that he was given $10,000 a month. Matter of fact, where's that clip at?
First hit I made was Here With Me.
Circulating online, alleging that artist David paid $10,000 a month to the parents of an underage girl, Celeste Hernandez, to approve their relationship, which allegedly began when she was just 10 years old after meeting on Fortnite. So that nigga met her. Now listen, I believe it. I'm sorry, I believe it. I believe it. That, first of all, that's just mad suspect and freaky, bro. You met a 10-year-old, any prepubescent girl, meeting them on the actual Fortnite chat room, like that's like a fucking nightmare. Like, this is the thing that you specifically don't want to happen with your kid being online, is that they actually talk to an older person online. And these people be doing this shit, bro. These people actually go into these chat rooms and chat up young people. They get them out of the chat room and actually, get them to a private conversation, and we'll start actually grooming this person. But what was interesting is the whole aspect of the family and the family's role in it. And like, yo, real talk, in other countries, in third world countries, they get money however they can. In the Philippines and them poor countries and whatnot, the fathers of them girls be knowing what they doing. Matter of fact, they be relying on the money that they daughters make. Doing what they do. You understand? But anyway, I wanted to bring it up real quick to kind of give you guys some more context. So, like I said, in this situation right here, I don't know, bro. But he has a lot of media where he talks about this specific subject, which I'm going to give you an example of, and it's to the point where you're like, damn, if he was doing something like that, would he snitch on himself like that? You know what I'm saying? Like, would he be so sloppy to just get on pause? Would he be so sloppy to just get online and tell on himself? But we're in the age of the dead internet era where nothing you see online has to be real. Any and everything could be fake. Any and everything could be for clout. Scary times. Scary times. So we're going to play a few clips so we have a little more context. I want you guys to really understand who this guy is. And this is another example real quick.
Where she died in the back of my mind. Like, I didn't kill her physically. Thought of her as gone by itself was something that she did. It was something that I decided to do. And I killed her in the back of my mind. It's really more of a figurative I killed you. Especially in the back of my mind. I try to stress that in the back of my mind. That's why I say it so loud. In the back of my mind, you died. In the back of my mind, I killed you. So it's all in the mind. Because that's the most secure place you can be, is in your mind. So if you can
expel that thought
in your mind, then everything else will just
come together. Puzzle pieces will just align.
where she died.
Yeah, so he has a lot of suspect media online. There's different situations, different allegations and whatnot. And also, he's really into Hello Kitty. That's probably what bothers me the most about this whole thing. Is and well, of course, there's a innocent child that passed away and was found in a grotesque and and alarming manner and everything. But right up under that is definitely the Hello Kitty aesthetic, and the Hello Kitty. There's just everything about that shit. And no disrespect, I'm like, you know what, yo, real talk. I had did a whole episode on how when young men get pulled away from development, because listen, your masculinity is a thing that you actually develop and work on. You work on your manliness. Like when I meet people and whatnot, I'm effortlessly manly. You know what I'm saying? I'm effortlessly just a cool nigga to be around. But I had to work on that. I had to develop that. I got faith. But I wasn't born with faith. I had to work on that. Everything takes time, including your manliness. And when you decide not to work on that shit, and you decide I'm gonna be the kind of thinking that kind of makes this kind of person. Because I don't know how to put it, but when I see young men like him, you look at young men like him and don't sense not 1 ounce of masculine energy. As a man, nothing about me. I'm sorry. As a man, nothing about him makes me say, I want to be like that. I want to move like that. I want to have that kind of confidence. I want to have that kind of presence. Nothing about him makes him say that. Whereas the artists of the past, when they were on screen, I'm not saying all of them, but a lot of them had a swag or had an energy about them, or at least something about them that made you say you can at least admire them. And also, stuff like the internet makes it possible for like too many ugly niggas is able to come online and be famous and show their talent. Back in the day, we had like 1 or 2 like ugly singers. We had a Case, you know what I'm saying, and we had Dave Hollister, but them niggas wasn't like tough to look at. Them niggas had eyebrows. This nigga Dave don't got no eyebrows, and this whole outfit, nigga, I hate this. But anywho, this is him also explaining his story. I want to play this too.
First hit I made was Here With Me. I got homeschooled, so I didn't go outside and have any social.
Now again, he's up here having a serious conversation while wearing a bonnet. He's doing an interview wearing a bonnet. Let me tell you something right now. This is the way that women be sabotaging everyone, yo. Like, whenever I bring this shit up, women will always argue with me. Not argue, but they'll say, what's wrong with wearing a bonnet? That you don't put women's clothes on a man. You don't put things that are for women on men. If that's the case, then you might as well hand them a pair of panties too. That don't look masculine, and it makes you look like a bitch and act like a bitch. I'm sorry, it just does. It is what it is. And men always get tricked out their spot because they don't realize that women will encourage you to do certain shit for the sake of making you basically like making you weak. Like, she knows that when you do these things, it's gonna change you and it's gonna make you easier to manipulate. Women put a lot of stock, a lot of energy into making you easier to manipulate. And also, older women, listen, I thought about this a lot more since hearing CGA talk about how older women, and which they really do, older women are always trying too hard to be the manipulative, trying too hard to control everything, trying too hard to make this shit too much of a contract, rather than, because again, she's always moving in scarcity and like a desperate energy where she doesn't feel as though, I'm going to be able to get him based off the value I provide. In her mind, she thinks that she has to get you by tricking you and lying to you. But that's a whole other conversation. But my point being is, just the fact that you got on the bonnet, just the fact that you're wearing a bonnet, bro, I can't be investing in you. You know what I'm saying? I feel like Mace. You know
Oh, chill for what? Who is this nigga? That's how I feel listening to this, man.
So I watch movies, and I was watching the Disney movie Up, and I was looking at Carl and Ellie. And when Ellie died, it was like the saddest thing ever for me. I watched the movie like 150,000 times, and every time Ellie dies, I cry every time. And I was like, yo.
Any nigga that talks about crying from a movie, any man that admits to crying in public, that's not manly, bro. And I'm not saying you can't ever cry, but you like your tears and things you cry about, that's your business. Okay, crying never makes a man look manly or like anything. So I don't know, man. Nigga suspect, but it does fit within the my whole concept because I'm like, yo, I have to ask. We all have to wonder why this man has not even been booked. I don't know if they even interviewed him. What's the main damage? Like what's the main thing that he suffered this whole time? His image, more than anything else. He's canceled shows. People who's collaborated with him in the past. Dua Lipa had a song with him, and she's taking down the song, right? Which I don't think anyone really cares about. Because one thing I can see about this kid right here is that he has his own music and he has his own wave, right? He is not someone who needs to be on records with other people, and that's one really cool thing about this era is that once you build your audience, if you're able to make the kind of content or the kind of raps and songs that people can really enjoy for the sake of listening to you, then you're in a really great sweet spot because you're not dependent on anything else but your own talent. But anywho, so make sure we're on the right mic and everything. Hold on, y'all. Do a mic check. Cause this shit gets tricky, baby. All right, we good. We Gucci. So, anywho. The record label, more than likely, does not like any of this shit that he's doing. Because what he's showing young people is that, yo, you can use your content to grow a musical fan base. And the artist has to pay so many different people. This is an example of how the artist, like, content has made to where an artist can be truly independent because they can get visibility no matter what. Once they build the fan base, they can get visibility on multiple platforms. They can monetize on multiple platforms. And there's so many ways of crowdfunding, so many ways of building audiences, right? Especially if you have money to reinvest in what you're doing. Judging by what we've seen over the last year, and the Universal Music Group was willing to ruin Drake's reputation to stop him from leaving that motherfucking record label, bro. Right. And also gotta say, it seems very much like Joe's up next. You heard me right, ladies and gentlemen. Joe for the Joe Budden podcast. That nigga's up next because these clips. Now they weren't clips that nobody was hiding, but these clips of him and his girlfriend on this podcast with the other what I guess they call the pod wives, basically the wives of the wives and girlfriends of the men who were on the Joe Budden podcast. All right, and I ain't gonna lie, that shit is some straight humiliation ritual stuff. I listen, when you were out and about, or if you are next to your girl, it is one of her jobs to make you look good and make you look cool. Like, I don't know if we get that shit from media or we get that shit from TV and movies, and it's not really a healthy thing. It's not a healthy thing. Because for one, you teach young people and teach other men that it's okay for her to dish you in public. It's okay for her to embarrass you in public. And like, real talk, like, more than ever, like, y'all realizing, like, yo, black men really black men are always going through like a humiliation ritual. People are always trying to humiliate you or degrade you when you're a black man. But anyway, let me go ahead and tie this on to my next point. Then we're gonna go into Joe. Then we'll get into a little bit of Drake. Pause. So it's to walk you back down memory lane, right? This gives us a little more context to why there might be a conspiracy against Tory Lanez in terms of what he exposed. What the gift that he gave the artist. Now, he was very much ahead of his time, and it was really hard to even grasp what the fuck he was talking about. But I want to play a few clips from him explaining how the NFT album worked and how much money it made, and so on and so forth. And yeah, let's get it.
$1 for the NFTs, right? I sold these shits to my fans for $1. People came, some people bought 20, some people bought 5, some people bought 60. It doesn't matter how much you bought. It was only $1. You spend $60, you bought 60. I need y'all to understand. One of those copies right now is going for 50,000, 60,000, 60,000. Yo, my nigga, and these are sold. They're sold. Go look at the list right now and see how small the sellers list is getting. Y'all don't understand what the fuck is going on? Y'all don't understand I just cracked the fucking industry? Y'all don't understand I just cracked this shit? I just cracked this whole shit. It's cracked. It's...
That shit was so advanced and so ahead of its time that at the moment I understood it, but it was hard for me to really grasp what the hell he was talking about. Now that we in the future, 5 years later, I understand what he's saying now. Like he made 1 million NFTs and they sold out within a minute. So essentially, he made $1 million, and this is the way. Now, every artist wouldn't be able to do this shit, right? Obviously, he had a lot of different people, who fuck with him and a really big fan base. But let's say you're a small artist, and let's say that you say, you know what? I'm gonna sell my album for $5, a $5 NFT. You guys can buy it all at one time, right? And if I sell 10,000, I still make 50 grand, like that. And let's just say you're an artist that's able to, no matter what, you can sell 10,000 $5 albums every time you put a project out. If you put out 4 projects a year, you can spend 10,000 on each project. You know what I'm saying? And net 40 grand. And we not even looking at the money you can make from streaming, the money you can make. Like once you build up a good fan base, I mean, I'll get me wrong, you have to be the kind of artist that can get millions of views on YouTube and millions of streams in order to really make money online. But let's say if you have an extensive catalog that people really like and whatnot, and let's say 60 of your songs is always being played somewhere at some point, you can definitely make $100,000 a month off of streaming. Because if you can get millions of streams and whatnot, you're an independent artist. Again, all this shit is very much possible if people put the effort into the art. But anyway, going back to how he cracked, he really did crack the industry, right? Because he not so much exposed, but he showed artists, okay, open your mind. Opportunity be coming from having the right mindset and being able to recognize, okay, something can happen here. All right. Being able to look into the future and see, all right, if we follow this path, this is where we can end up at. This is what he was showing y'all. And conveniently, right after this, he gets into the Meg Thee Stallion case. This is all before the incident with Meg Thee Stallion and the whole court case. Conveniently. Just like conveniently, Bill Cosby was getting ready to buy ABC. Right after that, he's in court for some weird shit. You know what I'm saying? And now, man, I think Joe Budden he's up next, man. So, recently he's been in the news for an old clip that resurfaced. Know what I mean? And that shit says this is some wild work. It's kind of crazy to even write this shit, but this shit says he's still telling her to pump it up, but for other dudes. Joe Budden admits that he's a voyeur and likes to watch his girl getting with other men. So Joe actually talks